Let's go.
I was a fan that actually, I read the source material. So I read Lev's first 3 books. I think probably after I got addicted to the show around season 2. So like in between season 2 and 3, I just killed all that. And then I was very surprised at how off book it went, especially with Quinn.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Alice.
Well, Alice as well.
Like,
yeah. And just to point out the obvious difference between you and the Alice in the books is she's this tiny little brunette. And then there's who we get on screen. I just completely relate them as 2 different characters. Did you read the books, or did you know much about the source material, and did you pull from that character?
Yeah, I mean, I read the books once I got the script. When they sent me the pilot script, I was like, I just saw the word magicians in my email, and I was like, oh, magic? I'll read this. And I read it and I loved it. And then I immediately read all 3 books while I was in the process of the casting process. So I fell in love with the source material. And when I read it, I knew, even though like the way they described Alice, the way she looked wasn't necessarily what I looked like, it didn't stop me. I was like, oh no, but I understand who she is at her core. And when I first read for Alice, I had long hair. I'm a very goth dressing kind of girl. I literally looked like what they described, except for not being brunette. So I assumed if I got cast, we're going to dye my hair dark or black or whatever, and it's like a done deal. And they were like, no, we're gonna dye it blonde or we're gonna keep it blonde and chop it short. And I was like, wait, what? But like I never I pulled everything from the books personally. I mean, like, I don't know, some people say that it seems very different than the books, but I think what my interpretation of the books is exactly what I did with Alice. Not everything in the books obviously is on the show, because you just can't do that. Like, it's impossible. It'd be such a boring show because it's like an inner monologue of Quentin Coldwater, who's like the most depressing little dweeb. Like it really wouldn't last 5 seasons. So, you know, we a lot of us really always pulled from the source material, even until the 5th season. Like, I know Jason and I were always had our book on set, and we were always just reading passages just to kind of get in the mindset of wherever Lev's heart was at when he was writing it. Even if the scenes weren't the same, we're like, okay, but what is this from? If they pull from the books, even if it's not the same scene, it has tonally, this is from something, let's find it. So like, as a cast, we were always trying to stay true to that, because we love the books. Everybody, all of us love the books on the show.
I love that. That's awesome.
Do you have like Alice's story, like the comic book, like in your house?
No, it's funny. I don't have it. I asked Lev to get me one at Comic-Con last year. And then we never were able to find each other, because it's hard to do at Comic-Con. And we never found, I was like, give me one, and I want you to sign it. And I never got it, but I've signed a million of them. Like, people, they send them to me to sign, and I'm like always reading through it, but I've still never finished it.
We'll send you one. It's amazing.
Love the artwork. It looks so cool.
I think that's just an interesting take that you had, where you said you and Jason specifically were into the books and kept the books on set, because we had talked to Rick Worthy, and he was like, I just made up Fog in my head. Like, I created my own Fog and put him on the screen. That's just an interesting.
Well, I feel like
they both worked. It was just interesting styles.
Well, there's different. I mean, like, Alice and Quentin and Julia, as like the main characters in the books, have the most material to pull from. Like, there's a ton there's a ton for me to pull from in the books. Whereas someone like Fog, there isn't as much. You know, Penny, there is, but they went such a different direction with Penny that for Arjun, I believe he didn't really use the books as much, and that works better for him. Totally. But like Jade, who plays Katie, I mean, that's like one sentence in the book is Katie. Right. Yeah. So like, not everybody could use the source material in the same way. Whereas Jason and I had this like well of material that we were like, let's not let this go to waste. And it really served us. I think it really helped, especially in the first like 2 seasons when we were more on track with the books, to really keep the tone. Yeah. Oh, I miss it.
So do we.
So do we.
I was going to say it's interesting because I read all the books after the show. I read the comics after the show, and then I read Alice's story after the show. So you were who I was reading into the books. Like, it wasn't the opposite way. I was like, you are the books to me. But the thing is, in the books, you, spoiler alert, you die, and then you're not in for a while. So I'm glad that didn't happen. I mean, of course, you were gone between Niffin and first season Alice, you were gone for a little bit. But I'm glad that they didn't do that, and you would have.
I was terrified about that. Yeah. I knew that was something that was coming if we got enough season, you know, like if we got to that point in the story, and had a conversation with John and Sarah, and they were like, we are not going to kill you off and have you be off the show. We're going to find a way to keep you on. And I was like, okay, thank God. Because I signed on knowing that there would be potentially like a big gap without Alice, but I think what they did was really cool.